Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everybody around the world. Welcome back to another One Piece video featuring Doflamingo. Get ready for a very, very spicy deck profile, which I am very excited to bring to you guys, featuring EB01 and OP06. It's going to be a long video. I know it's an hour. It might be a little bit longer. I'm not sure, because I want to talk about some things here before we dive into these matches. Before we go ahead and show off these deck lists, I want to talk about opening hands, some good cards to look for, how to go about certain matchups, as I will talk about it as I'm playing my games as usual. But let's go ahead and dive into this real quick, because I have a lot of things to talk about, a lot of different lists to show you. Without further ado, so Doflamingo in EB01 has already made a splash in the meta. He's won a bunch of events. I say a bunch, but it's like a handful. Regardless, he's won some events. Some people are catching on to him. He's a very, very strong deck right now in this format. And I just think people that, if you know type thing, right? You have some weaknesses, be it Sakazuki. If you brick really hard into Katakuri. If you don't see Sugars or Birdcage, for example, in Yamato. And that's really about it. Law is not a problem with this deck. Do not be worried about it. Do not be scared. Do not even talk about, oh, Law's running around. He can bottom deck everything. Who cares? Law is not a problem against Dofi. 100%. And then you have other decks such as Black Yellow Luffy, right? And Red Yellow Sabo. Those decks are kind of irrelevant here as well. Sabo is a lot harder to deal with, 100%. And the reason being is that the leader himself just has the innate ability of bouncing cards out or off the field. So in other words, if Birdcage locks something down, he can just pop it back to life, essentially. Whereas this locks down Black Yellow Luffy's whole field. Everything besides the leader. So you don't really have to worry about too much in that scenario. But Sabo can give you a harder time. Gecko Moria matchups. Law, we're going to dive into as many games as I possibly can within an hour. Hopefully we find some meta decks. Hopefully we find some off meta decks. This would be quote-unquote an off meta leader for a lot of people. But without further ado, we're going to talk about some opening hands here that I want you guys to be keen on, or at least try to look out for when you're playing this deck. There's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm going to try to touch on, but there's going to be a lot of things I will probably miss out, because there's just so much information I'm going to try to give you guys within the hour. Now, depending on your matchups here, your hands will vary a little bit, but generally you're looking for the exact same key cards in your opening and mulligan hand if you have to. You're looking for Baby 5 and Birdcage. These are your prime two pieces. I know it seems self-explanatory, but trust me, sometimes you might get a quote-unquote cracked hand without Birdcage and you think, I should keep this. You really shouldn't. You really should be looking for Birdcage, Baby 5 primarily. Everything else you can almost draw into. Almost. Baby 5 allows you to draw into all your Don Quixote pirates, characters, and or events. Off-White only allows you to draw into characters. So, there are some unpopular cards here, such as... Let me go ahead and pull them up real quick. I'm sorry. I should have had this on here already. There are some unpopular 2Ks, right? Be it Viola, Baby 5. Some people do not enjoy those, and I understand. I get it. You could use other 2Ks like X-Drake. We're not going to go through them all, but we'll go through a few of them just because it makes sense. You got Khalifa here as well. These are very, very good 2K counters to run in this build. They're not searchable, but when attacking, you can -1 Dawn. Essentially, this is a queen, but on attack. Realistically, getting this effect off in this format is just not going to happen. Let's be fair. X-Drake, on the other hand, is an on-play -1, so this guy will extend Birdcage for you. He's very, very good in this Dofi deck. But the downside to this is, hypothetically, your opponent attacks into you, and you activate one of your events, right? Spiderweb, Punk Gibson, Off-White, and I am missing one. That is my fault. The other one in which I very much enjoy, Flap Thread. These are just some of the events, right? Off-white allows you to go to 9k. All these allow you to go to 9k besides Flap Thread. But this pushes you to 9, and then you search the top 3 cards of your deck. If somehow you need a 2k to survive, which 2k can you pull? You can't pull X-Drake. You can only pull Viola and Baby 5 in that regard. So if you so happen to get like an X-Drake, a Khalifa, or Buenafesta, which is the film 2k, if you so happen to get one of those 3, you can't draw them. Therefore, you might just lose the game. If you can draw Viola or Baby 5, that pushes you up to 11k with that 2k counter, which might make you survive. So I try to keep this as consistent as possible and keep the Don Quixote Pirates for the 2k counters. That's just me. If you can fit in X-Drake along with these, or Fiesta, by all means, go for it. In any case, that's something I just wanted to talk about real quick. This also cannot pick up events. Only can pick up characters, so do be mindful of that. Your Baby 5 is going to be searching out your bird cages if you don't have it already in hand. You need A or B in the starting hand every single time. Now, there are other cards here in which you do need, depending on the matchup. Sugar into Yamato. Every time you're looking for sugars, off your off-whites, you're looking for not necessarily your Doflamingo, because sometimes you don't make it into the end game if you don't have your blockers up. But off the off-white into matches such as Yamato, you need your sugars, your Diamantes. These are really 2 big key pieces. Sugar stops Hody Jones from doing anything. Hody hits the board, his on-playability activates, he rests some Don, he rests some cards on board. Sugar will rest him immediately, stopping the rush, which is great. Sugar is very key into that matchup, which you can get off of Baby 5, of course, and off-white. Diamante allows you to constantly block and or attack, and restand him with the Birdcage. Now, I know this is Sim, so do keep this in mind. When you're out there playing locally, if you have a Don attached to this, right, and you swing for 7k, you will restand Diamante at your end of your turn due to his ability if you have 2 or more active Don, okay? So, hypothetically, if your opponent attacks into you and you decide to block out with Diamante, he is locked due to Birdcage. He does not restand until the end of your turn if you have a Don attached to him. Does that make sense to you? On Sim, it does it for you automatically. In locals play, be careful of your misplays. Be careful of doing things in which you shouldn't be doing when it comes to interacting with Diamante and Birdcage. In any case, we've also added in Ragnarok, which is a card that comes out of EB01. Phenomenal card in Doflamingo. Absolutely busted here. It allows you to remove so many big bodies in the format, other than some of the key ones that you can't, such as Yamato, right? Shanks, like the 10 cost Shanks. Only thing you can get rid of is 8 cost or lower. So your Katakuris, your 8-drop kids, your 7-drop kids, your Hody Jones, allows you to remove all of the big problems. Your big moms, crocodiles. It's very, very strong. Also, it extends Birdcage. You minus a Don, you KO a target, extend Birdcage. The trigger effect allows you to ramp a Don for active, which is really good. Situations in which where that would matter is if you go second in a matchup, right, and your opponent attacks into you, get this off a trigger, you ramp up on your second turn, you're able to just go ahead and play down Birdcage automatically. So you have 5 Don, which is great. In any case, just go ahead and look at some of these deck lists here. Choose your favorites. I'm going to show you 2 of my primary deck lists right now in EB01 and some of the other iterations here. And we're going to dive into a bunch of games. I'm going to show you my second favorite list right now in EB01 Doflamingo, which includes Eustace Kid, Hody Jones, 7-drop Kid, and of course, Dofi. Now, I've adopted Kid here in all of my variants of Doflamingo. If you guys have seen any of my Dofi videos here before, I do think this card is almost made for this deck. It is very, very good. The downside to it is on curve, if you play this, unlike Yamato, you can't just attach 2 Rested Dawn and have this active. So if you drop this down on 8 Dawn turn, you do the ability to play Rosinante, you might be okay, depending on how much counter power you have in hand, or how many events that you have that you are willing to be able to spend with the kid. With a setup like this, you're looking to have Flap Thread on your 8 Dawn turn. That way when you play down the kid, you restand 2 Dawn with Dofi effect. You drop a Flap Thread if they try to attack into you, which will make the kid 10,000 power for the whole turn. So that's something you can look for if you have a setup or deck like this. Flap Thread with a 7-drop kid or with the 8-drop kid is going to be ideal. It's going to get you out of a lot of situations here. This can also make your leader a 6k. A Flap Thread makes you an 8k for the whole turn, which is pretty strong, right? But sometimes if you have the Birdcage in play, right, and you curve out with the 7-drop kid here, you minus that Dawn, and you already have a kid in hand for whatever reason, or, you know, by that time, it makes it a little awkward to play down the kid and to play down the Dofi, or choose A and B. So you have to be a little bit mindful and sparing on how you minus the Dawn with the Birdcage. That way you're able to play into the kids and to the Dofis on curve and not feel a little bit awkward. That's the trick to the deck here, because you have a lot of cards that you want to be able to minus for the cage, but you also want to be able to play into the 8-drop kid and the Doflamingo. The downside to this list, if you don't see the kid, you're a goner, right? To be fair, because you don't have anything to extend Birdcage unless you draw into a Ragnarok, which is, you know, depending on the matchup, depending on how the draws are, might be unlucky. And this is very similar to one of my first builds here that I've done with Birdcage that I very much enjoyed. Without the off-white, of course, because this wasn't out at the time. But the kid enables this to stay 100%. But in this format, you lose out against Sakazuki a lot of the time, because they can just pop this and then you're SOL. So you have to find other ways to extend Cage realistically. And the way you can do that, I'm going to show you guys 3 different variations here. And like I said, you can pick and choose your favorite. This is just a shell, okay? Hypothetically, just a shell here. So let's go ahead and talk about the first one, all right? This is a build in which I'm very much having fun with. I think this build is very, very strong. It's just very expensive. You got the queens, of course. Unfortunately, you have the queen, you have the Hody Jones, the baby 5s with the Doflamingo package here. Now, the way this is going to work, you have the Uta, you have the Queen, you have Bullet. All of these here will extend Birdcage. This is one of your win conditions. This is also a win condition. Dofi is just the win more factor, essentially. But as soon as you get down Uta, your opponent is going to want to remove this immediately. And in hindsight, that's a positive or a negative thing, depending on the matchup. If they decide to remove this immediately by dropping down a Great Eruption, and then an Absalom to pop you, or a Great Eruption into a Houndblaze, Sakazuki is a little bit harder to deal with because he has a lot of removal versus Moria. But in Moria's case, they don't have as much removal as Saka, and they have to use it sparingly. So if they decide to pop these Utas from you, that means you have more free reign with things like Queen, Bullet, your Diamante, which is something that you want them to do. If this sticks on board for a couple turns, this gives you a ridiculous amount of value. It'll extend the Birdcage for you, it'll rest cards for you. It does a really good job at that. Now, if they decide to waste a lot of resources to popping this, when that turn comes around and you're set up, you can drop the Bullet and be safe, and Bullet can also go ahead and minus 4 Dawn or rest 2 cards on your opponent's board of 6 costs or less. We're talking Sabos and Borsalinos, and you're chilling. Now, Bullet will extend the Birdcage essentially indefinitely for you, and Queen will allow you to, I know this card's expensive, this is why I try to do mini builds without it and with it, but if you're able to afford him, you have playsets of him, he allows you to Dawn -1, draw 2 cards, which allows you to cycle cards in this deck and get pieces that you need. which again, baby fives, your off-whites, your bird cages. You need certain pieces to make this deck continuously work. And Queen allows you to do that by cycling cards. So this is a card I think you should try out if you have it. If you don't have it, there are many variations you can build without it. But he's very, very strong in this deck. Now, with Hody Jones, I also included him from OP06 in my previous list. I think this card is pretty disgusting. In Dofi, out of Dofi, very strong card. In Dofi, if you have the board set up for you with Birdcage, you can slap this down and rest blockers when they're not expecting it. Or you can just rest other big bodies on their board again when they're not expecting it to get them trapped inside Birdcage. And you get that rush attacker, which is really, really good. Now, your Diamante, this is a very, very hard card to play around. And I think a lot of people still don't understand how this works. So, Sim does everything for you guys, right? It's automatically. But when you're at locals, the way this works, if you have one Dawn attached to Rosinante or Diamante and you attack, you swing for 7, right? At the end of your turn, if you have 2 or more active Dawn, which you should always, because your Dofi ability allows you to restand them, Diamante can restand, okay? So now he's active again, which means he does not get locked down with Birdcage. The only way he gets locked down is if your opponent attacks into you and you decide to block. Then the Birdcage will lock him down. Once they pass turn over to you, he does not restand. The only way to get this man to restand is to spiderweb him or attach a Dawn to him, and then at the end of the turn with Dofi effect, then he'll restand out of the Birdcage. Do keep that in mind. Pay attention to your misplays. When you're out there on locals, you're playing with Dofi decks and all that sort of thing. It's a little bit tricky. Alright, in any case, let's dive into another one. This is another variation of the exact same build here, except for with a little bit of different cards. We cut out 2 queens, and we add in 2 laws. Everything else here is generally the same. We're going to talk about Law real quick, and why he's here. We run into a lot of yellow matchups, such as Katakuri and Enel. Enel loves taking hits early. Katakuri really doesn't mind too much by taking hits early. This into yellow decks is a very, very good idea, considering you can basically make them discard very key pieces. In decks such as like Gecko Moria, Sakazuki, especially Saka, being able to make them discard like their 2k counters, by chance of course, is very, very strong. Into Sabo, Ace can also be a very, very much of a nightmare for them to deal with. Now, other than that, he doesn't really serve too much of a purpose, because decks like Red Purple Law, they typically don't have that massive of a hand. They're playing cards on board to pop things on your side of the field. So this doesn't get a whole lot of value in that match, but everything else, this card shines. Especially decks like Newgate, any blue deck. Very, very good. And then the final variation is going to be a little bit more of a film package. The film package here, we cut the Law entirely. We have 2 queens. These Luffys essentially would be the other 2 queens, but instead we're playing around with Luffy here. Luffy allows you to do the Uta thing, which is very, very strong. When Sokka goes away, right? This is why Film Dofi does not do so well, or did not do so well during the Sokka format, is because this was so easy to just remove. With an Ice Age, makes this a 2, right? You Hound Blaze it. Great Eruption, you can Lucci these, which is crazy. So, with Sokka being rampant, the Film Dofi package kind of slowed down, stopped doing, good things. But when Sokka goes away, this might become pretty strong. Even now in the format, you're not running into a lot of Sakazukis at your locals and what have you. On regional events, yes, you're seeing Sokka everywhere. But other than that, this and this is still very, very strong into a lot of decks because they don't have a lot of answers for this. Even Gecko Moria has to use a lot of resources just to pop this Luffy. They have to have an Ice Age, they have to have Great Eruption, they have to have Rob Lucci. That's 3 key pieces that they don't gain easily, considering they don't get the cycle cards in their deck as well as Sakazuki does with the draw mechanic. But If you don't like this, of course, you can go back into the queens. This is just here to be able to pitch and play the Utas. The way you draw into those, of course, is Buena Festa. Now, you may notice this variation also has 2 extra counters, because I did tell you, with the off-white, you want to be as consistent as possible, and hopefully you're able to draw in your 2Ks when you activate this ability. Everything else here is the same, outside of you don't see 2 Hody Jones here. But in any case, we're going to go ahead and dive into a bunch of games today, and we are going to be playing these variants of these decks here. You will not see this one today. I'm not going to be playing this one particularly. I'll be playing the main ones I showed you already, which will be this one here and version 2. Let's go ahead and have some fun. I'll see you guys in a split second. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into a bunch of games today. I do apologize, though, for the longer intro. I know you guys say stop saying sorry for long videos, all that sort of thing. Just the intro itself was like 24 minutes. I gave you guys as much information that I could when it came to these lists that I'm going to be running here. Hold up. I guess we'll have to throw away Bullet. Unfortunately, this will give him a little bit of information that we're running him in the deck, but it's just the best card to throw away from hand here. Ooh. Let's go ahead and use this. Ragnarok in this match, though, is very, very good, especially to remove Gecko Moria. But considering he can just play Hogback to get it back, that's something you have to use sparingly and use when you know he doesn't have one. Anyway, I try to give you guys as much information as I can when it comes to all these videos that I do here on the channel. Even though I know I talk a lot, you know, that's just part of me. It is what it is. I'm going to try to go about these games as I normally do. Talk about my plays as I'm doing them and whatnot. We're going to play a bunch of games today, whether it's going to be off-meta, on-meta decks, whatever just comes my way, essentially. Now, Gecko Moria usually is a very easy matchup for this deck. And if you are a Birdcage Dofi player, if you know, you know. If you haven't played this variation of the deck before, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to, because this is a matchup in which you guys aren't going to see all too much. But if you are familiar with how this deck works, this can be a very, very easy match for you if you play it properly with the Birdcage. And this really just depends on how they go about it and what their hand size is. Whereas in Yamato, for example, it's very easy to just go big numbers, give them a lot of cards. In Dofi, you kind of got to swing small and control the board. It's completely different. So I can't really come at these matchups like a Yamato brain. You have to think a little bit outside the box and be a little bit more control-y here than always aggro. You can't just always go face, you know? 6, huh? We'll take that, though. That's fine. We got 7 Dawn left. We're going to go ahead and drop down the Baby 5 and search out. I'm looking for events here. Speaking of which, the off-white, I was looking for either an off-white or a Diamante. We have the Queen, but I don't think the Queen is going to actually stick on board. So I need another blocker here, just in case. I mean, sure, why not? Sometimes in these scenarios, when they do things like this, Baby 5 is already rested. I can't activate the ability again. In this situation, they could have just donned up, you know, Sherry or Sindri and just attacked me for 6k. Along with Leader, because they don't want to rest Sabo, right? That's just something they could have done. So far we've seen 2 Ice Ages. Just keep that in mind. Queen gets -5. He's going to bring back Absalom to pop this. Swings at me for 9k. I'm not going to... I mean, I guess I could guard out. We could drop off-white and an Uta. He has 3 cards left in hand. I'm feeling confident about it, but I'd rather go ahead and pitch. This is nice. Okay. We'll take that. What don't I need here? I guess we'll just give him the Diamante. I know it sounds silly, but he knew we drew that off the off-white versus the Uta and the Sugar here. I kind of want to hold that surprise factor. Give him the 2k. 8 Dawn. Let's play the Sugar the rest of this. We know he doesn't have another Ice Age. Unless, you know, he had 3 in hand. Let's go 5 face. Nice. I could play another Queen. But this might be really good here as well. We can float 4 Dawn. That sucks. But it's fine. Sugar still works regardless if she's rested or not. That's also something you guys need to pay attention to if you guys are playing this deck outside of Sim. She still will rest anything that hits that board, even though she's rested. Unless that character that is played has an on-play effect, such as like Rob Lucci, for example. Lucci goes off first, and then Sugar's ability can activate. But other than that, she will always rest something when they hit that board. Greater Eruption. So that means we've seen 2 Ice Ages, a Great Eruption already. We're only on turn 5. He's got 4 cards in hand. Your boy's struggling. He definitely is struggling right here. I mean, he's going to do some damage here. There's not much I can do about it, but that's okay. If we can rest the Rob Lucci, I think we're chilling. Oh, never mind. He's killing Sugar. Cool. I think it was a mistake for him to attack into that. But what do I know? Because now we have the opportunity to play Douglas Bullet and or Queen. We're just going to extend the cage for now. Ooh. He knows that we play Uta. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. We have 5 Dawn left. We'll swing for 8. Yep. So now we have the Punk Gibson in hand to rest the Rob Lucci. This is why Queen is so good in this deck as well, considering, again, it cycles out cards, allows you to draw 2, and which you cannot cycle and draw Punk Gibson off of, like, Off-White or Baby 5, considering it's a Supernova card. But Queen does allow you to dig deep and, you know, hopefully draw one out. So we've got the Off-White, the Punk. Off-White hopefully draws us into another 2K, which will keep us alive. And all we have to do is just rest the Rob Lucci and we're chilling. Because at that point, once he's rested, we have an option to go into Douglas Bullet, to extend cage again, or playing Doflamingo. Alright, so he's playing another Sabo here. I guess he's thinking that we're going to pop Birdcage. Which I guess is an okay idea, right? You know, it's safe to assume that, you know, maybe he doesn't have anything else in hand to extend Birdcage. I get it. But he doesn't know what's in our hand. He doesn't know about the Douglas Bullet, other than the one we threw away in the beginning of the game. So now, once he attacks us here, we'll rest the Rob Lucci. That's the 3rd Ice Age that we've seen. We'll rest this with Punk Gibson. 2 cards left in hand. Once we drop Bullet, I think we're just cruise control at that point. Is he going to remove me, or what are we doing here? Okay, there he goes. Go 7. Let's go and punk this real quick. We'll rest that. There's no shot. Oh, he can't swing with that anyway. Okay, so we're at 10 Dawn here. Oh, I guess we would have drawn into a Viola here as well, off the Off-White if need to be. We're at 10 Dawn. I think we can go 7. But we don't really have to. We can just go 5 and give him the pitch cards, or we can just play Douglas Bullet to rest him in first place, which might be even better. Boom, boom. And then we can go 7 here to get a guaranteed damage, hopefully. I know he can attack on the turn that he's played down, but we get to activate his ability to lock them inside the cage before you guys critique that play. And then next turn we should be able to win. Because he shouldn't be able to do anything here other than play down another blocker, which is irrelevant, because we're just going to rest that as well. So I guess he can play Gecko Moria here, but he's not killing Douglas Bullet. And Bullet is he's a big guy. He is. He's a really big boy. Another Sabo. Again, this play doesn't make any sense to me. He spent 5 Dawn here. He's probably looking for 2k counters, maybe. Great Eruption, 3 Ice Ages, 3 Great Eruptions. Goes 10. We can guard this as well. We'll get the off-white into the Doflamingo. Give him the 2k counter. No, that's awkward. I mean, we could technically just stall out this turn, but I don't think we need to do that. Let's go to -4 Dawn again. Rest this. Get the double hit. And now let's go 9k with Dofi. Regardless if this does not kill him this turn, let's say he guards out. Let's say he has the guard. He still can't do anything. He can attack me next turn, but he's got no blockers up. So, GG. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and dive into the big bad here, playing against Red Purple Law. The boogeyman of this format, or one of the many that we have, being Gecko Moria, Sakazuki, Katakuri, and Law. Would probably be the top decks, you know, for unpopular opinion or biased opinion, give or take, but definitely the top decks right now. I still think a lot of these rogue decks are out here that people haven't really explored too much in EB. Possibly has a chance of doing something in the metagame. Be it Dofi shuts down a lot of these decks right now and nobody's talking about it, nobody's playing it. He just has a bad matchup into Sakazuki, which is everywhere. Other than that, once he goes away, man, I'm trying to tell you guys, this deck's gonna be pretty good. We already got ourselves Raise Max and Bond 2, or Bond Clay on board. 2 Bond Clays. I guess he really doesn't know about Birdcage, does he? We don't need Baby 5 here. Just trying to think if I want to counter out. Pushes me down to 3. That's a lot of attacks we have to take next turn, which might not be too bad, especially once they get locked down with Cage. We have the kid here to extend this as well, so thankfully we had this in hand already. If not, this could be a very, very tough game if we have no way to extend Cage, if we don't see Kid. Or Ragnarok here with this build. We're at 7. Playing Diamante just gets it removed, probably. Which is okay, because we can eat both maxes, and then Kid might be able to get a chance of doing something, or staying on board. We'll just go 5. He'll probably take this. At least I'd imagine he'd take this. Nice. Okay, so we have Punk Gibson, Spiderweb, and Off-White to protect ourselves here. We can go ahead and punk a Mr. 2. Which I'm okay with. Okay, Shiraya, another very strong blocker here. But he's irrelevant to Doflamingo, so not really worried about him. Bot decks that, he ramps up a Dawn, sure. It really just comes down to when he decides to attack me. He can't do anything else at that point. Alright, so we'll go ahead and punk the Shiraya here. I know it sounds silly, but I need to rest that in case he decides to attack with Mr. 2s. And that way I can attack into him. Okay, never mind, never mind. He didn't. 9 Dawn left. We still have one more turn in which we can, you know, wait to play 7-drop Kid here. But he's got 1 Raise Max on the field. which pushes me to 4K. But this also gives me a 6K for the turn, which off-white will make me a 10. Nice. There's no reason to attack anything else other than the leader here, in case you guys are wondering why I didn't kill the Shiraya. I have Cage up, so I'm not worried about it. This will swing for 8, which is a really big number. Alright, off-white got me nothing. Sometimes it does be like that, but it's okay. We don't take a damage. There's another 10K coming my way. Nice. Okay, another birdcage. That kind of sucks. I mean, I guess not really, maybe. If we decide to let this one pop and just play another one down, we can extend that one indefinitely too, considering Kid is on board. I feel like I should guard out, but I don't want to waste my 2Ks right now. We get a Dofi. Okay, so he definitely has removal for this. Plays on another IM. 9K to face. We can guard out again with Spiderweb. And now he's big sad. Because now we can play Dofi, lock down the leader. I'm is the only one that can hit me unless he has a rush card in hand or draws into one here. And we have off-white to protect ourselves from that. Yep. Huh, math is hard. I get it. It's okay. Alright, what do you do? Alright, it's a big number. So his leader swings at me for 9. Pop in the off-white. We get a sugar, which isn't too bad. It's just nothing that we can use right now. 4-drop law is kind of irrelevant in this matchup as well. Hody should be able, not Hody, sorry. Dofi should be able to end this game for me. He's got 3 cards in hand. We'd have to go all out if that's the case. Like, I can't stop now. Do you have the counter or not? He did. Okay, that sucks. I guess we just go 10K into Elm, or IM. And if he tops deck a Zoro, this could be a problem. I guess realistically he could -3 Dawn and just play down a, or remove the sugar. So playing Law here is probably the better option. It's going to go 9 into me. That's fine. We'll block out. Where's your rusher? There he is. That is kind of scary. We'll take the hit, though. Sweet. So I've been told that this leader here can cook. If he sees the right cards, he draws the right curve. Apparently, Hody Jones is pretty scary. Which, I'm not going to hold you. Very fun deck to play. It's very exciting to play when it's done right. We're playing against another off-meta leader here, so I mean, I don't really mind if we showcase this one or not. This gives you guys out there another perspective to off-meta leaders, and I don't like to feature just Katakuri and Nell all the time, or Sakazuki, so when it comes to the Hody Jones, this might be a tougher game, because he can lock me down with the 7-drop Hody and rest my Dawn. He can play down Arlong and not allow me to attack. This deck can do a lot of things to you. Let's go ahead and search out with Baby 5. We get the cage off the rip. We go 5 face. No, sorry, we go 6 face here. And then if he decides to attack me with leader, we'll rest the Zio or Zoo. I don't remember this guy's name. I think it's Zoo. with the Punk Gibson. I know it's silly, but cool. Yeah, we'll rest that. It's fine. Baby 5. We'll rest it and then discard a Diamante to keep her on board. There's no point, but you see he already runs Mihawk here with a 2k counter, which is nice, but that means he plays that down to play other bodies on board, so into something like Birdcage, he's going to have a hard time. And it's Zeo. Alright, there's Chew. Let's go 5 face. I bet you guys thought I was going to attack him, didn't you? Crazy. Takes that one. We'll play Cage down. And we'll leave up 2 Dawn for off-white. Which we should have enough here to only take 1 hit. Speaking of Arlong. And he runs Zoro. Now he threw that away, which leads me to believe that he probably has 1 more in hand. Or maybe his other cards were just too good not to throw. I guess Diamante and or the 2k would be really good here. If we take Diamante, this allows us just to keep constantly attacking for 7. Let's go and play Sugar. We'll rest this. I'm going to play Diamante and pass turn, because I can't attack with Leader because Arlong locked me. That's 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9k counter worth for Diamante. What he drew? Okay, Vander Deckman. I assume he's going to kill Diamante here. Oh, he can't. He can't. Never mind. Never mind. He only can kill Rested, so he's going to kill Sugar. Yep. You going to attack me or no? There you go. Yep. Okay, we get another Sugar off that, which is really good. We can rest Vander here as well. Or we can play Hody Jones here. I think playing Hody might be a little risky, just in case he has one, you know, of his own. The Sugar seems a little bit safer. We just don't have a way to extend Cage just yet, so. Punk Gibson. Okay, that's rested. Pretty good. We'll go 6k to face here again. Nice. Get down another Diamante and we'll pass it up. So if he wants to play something that's 4 or lower here, we can rest that out with Punk Gibson. What do you do here? Alright, so he's going to play down Zoro. Like I said, unfortunately, he probably doesn't know that Sugar can rest things, even though she is rested. And if he does know that, it seems a little crazy to me for him to just play down Zoro and get it rested. Because now we can just take Diamante and attack into Zoro and be chill. Sugar already did her job. So we get an Uta off that. So now we have another way to extend Birdcage here. Which is fine by me. So as long as I leave up 4 Dawn for Uta, I think we're chilling. Let's go all into this guy. And hopefully this is enough. We'll just leave up the 2 Dawn. I think Uta can wait. Nice. Alright, so we get that popped. We can go 5 to face, leave up the other Diamante here. I know it's probably better to attack with him, but he won't restand himself. I'll pass it up. Right, so his whole board is gone, right? And now we're chilling, because now we have access to drop Hody whenever we want to here. And not have to worry about it. But again, he also has access to Zoro and Hody here as well. And speaking of which, I guess we can play Hody. We can rest both of them, attack into them, remove them out of the game, and then just put him back in a very worse spot than he already is in. We have Dawn to put into Diamante, though, to make him restand. So maybe it's not. We get a queen. He's a 4. I want to try to remove both of these if it's possible. Surely you let this go. Okay. I probably could have gone for game there. But I don't know if he has like any decent triggers, or maybe possibly the 0 cost event over there. You can just draw into it and protect himself. There should be a damage. 1 to go. Diamante in this deck is just so good. He's just a free 7k swing that restands himself every single time. And I think this one is over. Because even if he attacks with 8k on lead and then drops a Hody Jones. Alright, I'm sorry guys. Looks like we're going to play into one more law here. And then we'll probably do maybe one more game after this one. What's that make? 5 games, I believe? We played a law earlier. Hody Jones. Gecko Moria. Yeah, we'll play one more game after this one. And then we'll dive back into the deck list. And then I'm going to start working on the next one. Or the next video, sorry. And the poll will be up after this one as well. And I think for this weekend, I will be taking Birdcage Dofi to locals. So you guys should expect to see content on that from locals as well. Alright, let's go ahead and drop down Cage. I don't think there's a reason to attack into that. Because I think if we do, he'll just give it to us. Let's go to leader instead. And then we'll play Cage down, depending on what he does. Gives me the 1k, that's fine. Thankfully it was a Beppo. That means 3 more to go. Why would you play Kid down? Huh. I guess start ramping Don early. It just seemed like you should have attacked first and then played the Kid in case I had a Punk Gibson. Like off the trigger is what I meant. We're going to start off a little aggressive here, though. He needs 2 Gordons to remove the Hody Jones. Nice. Don't worry, though. Kid's rested. We got there. Alright, so there's the first raise max. Alright, you got a second one. So 3 cards left in hand. He gets the bottom deck this, and we'll have 2 cards left. Alright, man, you got it. Goodness, 11k. Sure. Right, what do you want me to do? We get Uta here. Oh. It always feels so good just to draw that sugar, and it's just like, yo, let me rest you. Birdcage. Sorry, Shiraya. You tried. 7 Don left to play with. I could play another Hody Jones here, but I think that'd be really risky. Let's just go 7, see if we get a damage in. Come on. You don't have the counter. Let's go. Thank you. Get down Diamante and we'll pass it up. Come on, man. Every turn this man has something. Okay, so Diamante's gone. Which is definitely okay with me. He's going to swing 9k to leader. Oh, with a Kid. Oof. Huh. I think we can take this hit. Because we have Hody to go for game. This, obviously, we have to guard out. I guess it'll depend on what he decides to do here. Nice. We could Hody, but it might be a trap. Like, it could be a 0 cost event. Hold on. 7. That's 8. Yeah, it could be a 0 cost event and like a 1k counter. I don't know what he has in hand here. Which is pretty spooky. Playing Queen allows me to draw 2. And I'm already protected from Cage. do the minus effect. Ooh, not bad. It's not bad because we have more cards with counter. So we'll have to discard something that doesn't have counter power. That'll work, I guess. It's probably another Gordon or Max coming down. Oh, okay, Atama. I'll rest the Atama. That feels so awkward sometimes. Alright, do you go all out here? -2 on the queen, 7 in lead. We have to guard, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and block out with queen, just in case he has a couple rushers here. Because that could be enough for Zoro or enough for a kid. Alright, there is Zoro. Going 6. I could off-white this, but I don't think that's worth it here. Sugar did her job already. She rested the bigger cards, that way I don't have to worry about them. And now he plays down another rush unit, right? And tries to go for game. Hopefully it's Kid and Killer here. That's just the best that... Oh, never mind. Here comes Zoro. Goes 7. We just off-white and win, right? Take the 2K. You poor guy. Everything stays on board. Or sorry, everything stays rested here. And he just gives up. We'll take those. Alright, team. I'm sorry. This will be the last video for the day. Not video for the day. This will be the last game for the day when it comes to Birdcage Doflamingo here. Again, I will be taking this at locals coming up here soon, so remember, stay tuned for more content for Doflamingo. You guys should be seeing a lot of live games. Hopefully, last week we had like 52 people on our regular locals, which is crazy. So, I'm hoping we have just that same amount or more or around there. That way we can get in like 5 or 6 games. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, let's dive into this matchup here. Playing against blue-yellow ace. This is going to be a very, very tough game. Blue decks can be a pain, and it feels like they can drag out for a while, especially considering he can keep healing. And I need to see the right cards in this matchup, which our hand is cracked, alright? Absolutely cracked. He doesn't have removal in this deck, maybe, unless he's running red rocks, which is a possibility. He's blue, so... Hopefully he doesn't give us a red rock on our Douglas Bullet before we draw into another one or another bigger body. It might not be worth playing Cage here yet, so let's go ahead and get down the Uta for now and pass turn up. We have enough Dawn for Spiderweb here, if need be. Go 6 to the lead. We could guard out with the 2K or just take this hit. Actually, let's guard out with the 2K here. I don't want to start taking damage early just yet, because I don't know what to expect from this ace player. A lot of these decks are very flexible, I guess that's the word. You can build this deck so many different ways. He's a very strong leader. He's going to get a lot better here once he gets some more support. So I have to be a little bit mindful of what damage I do take here in this match. So he does have access to like Sabos and aces for rush units and all that sort of thing. Let's go 5. See if he'll block with extra egg. Nice. He's got no idea. Like, he knew that we drew the birdcage earlier, right? He knew that we got it. Like, there's no shot that he doesn't know we had it. So we'll rest the board up. Anything he decides to play on board other than having it be a big body is pretty much irrelevant versus this deck. So... But I've seen some lists run like Kaido and some crocodiles. Lists all over the place, so I never really know what truly to expect. Because he's at 4, he's at 8 Dawn here. He needs to deal with this Uta. And he can't play anything on board in fear of it being rested by Sugar. Alright, puts her to life. goes 8. We have off-white here, which is probably the best play, or we can just take a damage, which wouldn't be too bad. But let's off-white. Ooh, let's draw the baby 5. You'd love to see when that happens, by the way. If you already have Birdcage and off-white like shows you another Birdcage, it's fantastic. It's really good because that's one card you're not going to draw. It just bottomed exit for you, you know what I mean? Which is pretty solid. So Sabo's gonna kill Uta? No? Okay, Sugar. Questionable, but alright. We're at 9 Dawn. I need a way to extend Cage for the following turn. We might have to use Uta's ability. But it's kind of spooky in case he does have another Sabo and he pops Uta ahead of time. So we're going to have to go with the Douglas Bullet play. We could -4 Dawn, but there's not really a point. We can do that next turn. If he plays anything on board, we can rest it with Bullet. If he attacks into us, we rest it with Uta. And we still have a Spiderweb in hand. Okay, smart. Goes 9. Sure. Another Uta. Is that all you got? That was a lot of Dawn just to attach here. And just swing on me. It's going to go 9 as well. Oh, 8. So he's accounting for my events, which is really good. Except for on this particular turn, I think he needed to go 9. Because I'm just going to take the hit anyway. Obviously, he didn't know that, so I think by going 9 there would have been a little bit safer play on his part. Because I'd have to get rid of an event and a counter. Or just take the damage. So now he has 4 Dawn left to play with here. Bounces that to life. Then what? Hiyori takes the life back. Yep, sure plays that down. That's so good. Well played. 5-2 though. It's gonna be a crazy game. We got double Uta in hand. I have no need to rest the Hiyori. But this will extend the Birdcage here for free at the same time. And I can deal 2 damage, hopefully with Douglas Bullet. Let's go 5 first and see if we can get cards out of hand. Okay. Daifuku. That's weird. It's a weird card to have in this list, I would think. I mean, maybe it's not, but I'd imagine it would be. We're going to attack here with Uta as well. I know that's strange, but we also have 2 more Utas in hand, and I'm not really worried about him popping this one. Gives me a Puddin'. That would have been really bad. If he decided to Pudding me there. That could have been terrible. I guess we can -4 Dawn. Or we can just play down double Uta. And then, yeah, double Uta first, and then 4 Dawn. -4 Dawn. Or baby 5s. What can we get? Nothing relevant. Actually, I think that might be pretty good. I don't know what his top end is yet. Now we can do this. Right, we'll just rest that. That's the way Birdcage is extended. Can I get that double attack, please? Appreciate it. Nobody cares about Nekomamushi. So I guess that's the life that he planted up there with Hiyori, which I'm totally okay with. 5 left in hand here. He needs to actually do something. Otherwise, next turn could be it could just be over at that point. We get the double attack off, we attack in with Dofi, and then we just start peppering with Utas. A little greedy, but it could be the game. Potentially. I'm gonna go 5k into baby. I could block. I could play Spiderweb and restand it. Or block with Uta, then Spiderweb and restand it. Following turn. But we don't need the baby 5 right now. 5 to face. I think he wants me to block with Utas here. Like, I feel like he's trying to get me to do it. Oh, a Kaido. Alright, that's a hand size. We have Sugar. I can't rest the Kaido, but in case he wants to play something else, like another big body, we can rest that. I don't get the double attack either on Bullet unless I activate the ability. I don't know why I attached on to Dofi. That'd leave me with 4 Dawn. That's enough to play Sugar down. And that's it, right? Yeah. This'll work. We can play the Sugar. We have enough Dawn for Off-White and Spiderweb. Let's go AK to face with this as well. I don't really care too much about the clapback if he decides to attack into it. We've got double blockers and we have Sugar with 2 events. I think we're chilling. Alright team, get to work. 1 life left. We should be able to close out this game. I haven't seen an ace yet in this deck, so I'm kind of thinking that he doesn't run it. Suru goes on top, so he's probably going to heal a life here. What's another card? Oh, okay, I see the play there. That was pretty good. He popped the Sugar with the Sabo by using the Sabo ability to pop the life that was up. That was face up. Okay, I see it. It's pretty solid. But that doesn't help you, though. So I guess next turn we could just go face and win here. 12 into Bullet. I cannot let that happen. We're gonna have to guard out here as much as I don't want to. We're gonna lose an Uta. We could potentially rest the Sabo here. But I could Spiderweb and save her. No, I can't save her. I can restand up the other Uta, sorry. We'll just do that then. I know she dies, but we got to stand up another Uta. It was rested, so it's a possibility he might have attacked into it with leader there. You know what I mean? That way we have at least another blocker for later. They're just leaving up 1 Dawn. You might as well just attach and go for 10k. So 10k, going to lead. Do I care about this? I don't think so. Diamante. Now we can Doflamingo here. We can lock down the the 2 big problems. Nothing else is relevant. We have Uta to rest the Sabo. We have Douglas Bullet to rest the Sabo. And everyone is shut down again with Cage. Go 5 to face. We're just trying to soften up the hand just a little bit. That way Bullet can get in with the damage or 2. Nice. We'll pass it up. I'm not going to attack with Utas here. As much as I want to, I just feel like that'd be a little bit silly. Because the odds of, getting those attacks in and winning the game are very slim. Dawn 10. Another Kaido. Goodness, there's a lot of cards in hand. But he has no blockers on board. I think we have to go for it, guys. Soften him up. Go 5. Yep. We'll get that hand down. Don't you worry. I could do the thing and just go 10k with both of these. This should get a lot of cards out of hand. Nice. I mean, not so many, but we got a couple 2Ks out of there. It's fine. I feel like I'm about to be baited. You ever get in those scenarios where you're playing against Whitebeard and you're like, okay, I can do this. Let's go for face. And he rad beams you and guard points you, then plays cards from hand. It's like you knew he was going to do it and you still did it. So we're going to have to do it this way instead. We'll leave up 2 Dawn for Off-White. Do you have it? Okay. He had it. That sucks. Let's play Sugar down. We'll pass turn up. So that means Kaido and Ace both restand here. So we have 2 12k attackers and then leader, which is obnoxious here. But we have 2 blockers ready to go. As long as he doesn't have some sort of removal, we just win. 100%. Going 12 to face. I'd be really brave to take this hit, and I'm tempted to do it. The only way that we lose here is if he has removal for the Utas. If he has that, then it's pretty much GG. 5 left in hand. Another 12 to lead. He doesn't run any unblockables in this build, so I'm trying to figure out what else he could possibly do to win the game here. We're going to have to guard this one with Uta, of course, because we don't have enough in hand to do it. I can't use her ability, so that's fine. Going 11k here. Oh, the reject. I like it. Unfortunately for you, we have the counter in hands. You can play the off-white. The off-white gets nothing in this scenario, which does suck. But we have the counter readily available. And GG. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the end of the video, where we talk about the deck list real quick and any upcoming changes and all that sort of thing. You guys know how I do here. When it comes to Doflamingo, Birdcage, I will be playing as many different variations of this list that I can come up with here at locals on the channel. Anything I come up with, I will post it here in the community tab on YouTube. I'll let you guys know in future videos, all that sort of thing. I'm having a lot of fun with this leader, as I always do, being my favorite character in all of the anime. Dofi is here to stay, at least for me. Especially in OP07, I will be playing this leader again. And in EB, I will be playing him as well. OP07, we don't get a lot of new cards for this particular one, but we do get some Foxy stuff that might actually be pretty good. But overall, before we get ahead of ourselves, this has been Birdcage for EB01. I've shown you guys many different variations here from some of these lists. I do hope you guys try them out. Let me know what you think about them. If you're interested in dropping your list or helping out other people in the community down in the comments, please do so. There's a lot of new people here that come to my channel. There's a lot of new people that are coming into the game. If you have any knowledge to spread, use the community as you see fit. Just be positive. In any case, this has been Pawseplays. Remember, smash the like button so we get these videos floating around. And I will catch you guys in the very next one. And or I'll see you at locals. Stay safe out there. See y'all later.